Today I want to share with you one of my discoveries concerning marriage. People have all kinds of definitions of marriage, and the more we travel in time, the more confusing it gets. So I want to return to the original. The original is God, the God of Jesus Christ. That's the only one, and the only one that was before the beginning, the one that created marriage. And he wanted marriage to be a representation, an image, a vivid, living image of his own being. So we go back to Genesis, the first book of the Bible. And you notice that in that first chapter, God said, let us create man in our own image. Why is it that he says us? Because normally we talk about God and we say he did this, he said that. But God is also talking about himself as us. And the church presents it as Trinity, one in three. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But these three are one. Though, if you study the Bible, you find out that they can be presented as separate in very rare occasions. Like in Genesis, when God created the world and man and woman. Another place where God presents himself in full is at the baptism of Jesus. Jesus being baptized in the water of Jordan, the Father talking, and the Holy Spirit like a bird. Other places are there, but so God is one in three. What does that mean? It means that although there are three, they can be perceived and are perceived usually as one. If you look at the Father, is what we are calling now for us the Father figure. That's what is a father? A director, a leader, a protector, the one that holds the family and protects it, the one that sets the pace. And then the Son, the one that came to us, the one that represented God on our streets, in our world as a human. And then the Holy Spirit, that is the one that is now here, the counselor, the one that guides us, leads us by his word. And those three are one. All of them God. And that is what the marriage is about. The father, the husband and father, the wife and mother, and the children that come out of that marriage. And when the couple, the family speak, for example, sending birthday cards, Christmas cards, they sign the ugochukuz, or the parent, or whatever the name of the man is, usually, because that's the tradition among human beings. The wife takes the name of the man. It's not obligatory nowadays, but this is the way it has been for millennia. Which means that when you are talking about the ugochukuz, you don't think about me or about my husband, you are talking about the family. Wife, husband, and children, grandchildren, maybe one day great-grandchildren. The family is one. And the plan of God is for us to be presenting God in human form, the image of God. And we polish that image. God shapes that image in us day by day so that we represent Him better. What does that mean? That unity of the family. First of all, it's a unity. So we are talking about a family, and you cannot say, Françoise, I'm not the Françoise I was when I was born. I've been shaped, and being with my husband for 51 years now. We have been, in fact, 52 years very soon. We are different. We are one. So I may talk sometimes exactly like my husband would talk, and vice versa. Secondly, there is an intimacy in marriage, because you cannot be one completely and not being intimate. And God said that when the man and the woman come together in marriage, they become one flesh. It's not one idea or one spirit only, one flesh, which means that even physically they have become one. And you don't start tearing my flesh apart. That would be my death. And that is why marriage is for life. It also means being productive, creative. The desire of couples, unless they have been damaged, is to get children. You want to reproduce. It's just part of your DNA. And people are ready to do absolutely anything, even wrong stuff, to reproduce. And when you reproduce according to your kind. That is the blueprint in Genesis. Also, you want to touch others. You are built for relationships, just like God desires to communicate Himself. And that's the reason for the creation. God was already 3 in 1. He could have been staying forever like that. But He wanted to share His joy, His peace, His everything that is Him, them. They wanted to share. And the Bible is about God talking and listening. The Bible is a dialogue. Our God is not somewhere up there, unknown and not unknowable. It's a God that revealed Himself, a God that talks, wants to communicate. It's also a God that works. In creation, God created the world in 6 days and then rested on the 7th day. And that is the rhythm of life that God planned. 6 days of work, 1 day of rest. And this is the one He shared with us. He wants us to work, not just doing nothing on benefits. Thank God for benefits, but we need to work. And God said in His words that if you don't work, you should not eat. Don't eat if you don't work. You have not any right. So life is about work and rest. And this is about a goal. God creating the world and placing man and woman there had a goal. The goal was to develop, grow His kingdom, His family. And that should be our goal as couples, as families, because we are in the image of God up to that also. Sharing so that people will come into that family. It's not a restricted posh club. It's a family with doors and windows open. I loved the way it was in Nigeria. We lived in a house that was so open that half of the activities of the house were taking place outside. We washed our clothes outside with hand. We cooked outside on kerosene and firewood. We played and talked and shared outside, and then took shelter when it was raining and slept in. So I invite you, let your marriage, let your coming together be in the image of the Trinity, of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Bless